Have you ever wondered why a basic t-shirt can cost $20 while a simple jacket might be priced at $2,000? Where do those numbers come from? And does a higher price always mean better quality? Today, we're diving deep into what really makes up the price of clothing, from raw materials and labor to branding and marketing. We'll talk about why stores offer massive discounts, how brands decide on their prices, and how you can shop smarter. Stick around until the end. We'll share practical tips that can save you money and help you make better wardrobe choices. And feel free to jump into the comments. Have you ever paid too much for something disappointing? Or scored a budget piece that lasted for years? Let's start with the basics. How clothing prices are actually formed. The price you see on a tag isn't just for fabric and thread. It includes dozens of other things: design and development, material costs, labor, factory overhead, shipping, warehousing, marketing, store rent, staff salaries, taxes, and of course, profit. If you buy a t-shirt for $60, its production cost may be around $10 to $15. The rest covers everything from logistics to advertising to the retailer's margin. Retailers often operate with a gross margin of 50 to 60%. And if there are multiple middlemen involved, the final price can be 3 to 5 times higher than the actual cost to produce the garment. In the fashion industry, that's considered normal. So, what's actually included in the cost of making a piece of clothing? First, raw materials: the fabric, lining, and trims. Fabric alone can account for up to 70% of the cost, especially when high-quality cotton, wool, or linen is used. Then comes labor: wages for sewing, factory rent, equipment. The more complex the design or construction, the more time and skilled labor it requires, which drives the cost up. Add to that the packaging, tags, shipping, warehousing, and even potential losses from damaged or returned items. Now let's talk about something every shopper loves: discounts. Sales might seem like a bonus for consumers, but they're really a tool for businesses. Stores need to free up space for new collections, and unsold clothes mean money tied up in old inventory. That's why discounts are used to quickly turn those items into cash and keep operations moving. There's also massive pressure from competition. Many customers won't buy at full price because they expect a discount eventually. That forces retailers to bake future markdowns into their initial pricing. But offering discounts too frequently can damage a brand's image. If a product is always 50% off, people begin to question its real value. That's why many well-known brands plan their sales carefully and exclude their core items to protect their positioning. By the way, later in the video, we'll share a straightforward checklist of tips on how to shop smart and avoid paying just for a label. It's practical advice you can use right away, so be sure to stick around until the end. And now, here's a big question. Does a high price always mean high quality? Not necessarily. Sometimes, yes, you're paying for better materials, superior craftsmanship, and a more refined fit. But other times, you're mostly paying for the brand name, the story, and the image it sells. A piece of clothing that costs $40 to produce might be sold for $400 or even $1,000 simply because of its brand positioning. And that's not unusual. In high-end fashion, a lot of value is added through branding. Lifestyle associations, celebrity endorsements, runway shows, packaging, boutique experiences, all of it contributes to a sense of exclusivity and status. But high price can also reflect real quality. Natural fibers, structured tailoring, solid construction, proper lining. These features often translate into longer-lasting garments that keep their shape and appearance after many wears and washes. On the flip side, cheap clothing often wears out quickly. Seams come apart, fabric thins, items lose their shape. So even though the upfront cost is low, the actual cost per wear can end up being higher. Take this example. If you buy a jacket for $200 and wear it for 3 seasons, that's less than $6 a month. But if you buy a $70 coat that falls apart in 2 months, it'll cost you more in the long run. So, what else affects the price of clothing? Design complexity plays a huge role. Intricate cuts, hand detailing, unusual silhouettes, these are harder and more expensive to produce, especially in small quantities. Production scale also matters. Big brands place large orders, which allows them to negotiate better deals with suppliers and factories. Smaller independent labels have higher per-unit costs and often need bigger markups just to survive. Then there's country of origin. Garments made in countries with higher labor costs, like Italy or the US, will usually cost more than those in lower-wage regions. That doesn't always mean better quality, but it does reflect economic realities. And let's not forget marketing. Advertising campaigns, photo shoots, influencer partnerships, store design, all of it is priced into the product. That's why two nearly identical garments can have drastically different price tags, depending on how the brand is positioned. And now, as promised, here are a few practical tips to help you shop smarter and avoid paying just for a label. It's practical advice you can use right away. First, check the fabric. Natural fibers like cotton, linen, wool, or silk usually last longer and feel better. Blends can be helpful, for example, elastane adds stretch, but avoid super thin or see-through materials unless that's the design. Second, inspect the stitching. Are the seams even? Are the threads tight? Do patterns line up properly across panels? If you see sloppy sewing or loose threads, it's a red flag. Third, always try things on. The fit should be clean and comfortable. If something pulls or twists awkwardly, it probably wasn't well constructed. Fourth, consider the cost per wear. A $150 sweater worn 75 times costs $2 per wear. A $30 sweater that lasts 5 wears? That's $6 per wear. Longevity matters. Fifth, don't overlook secondhand or outlet options. Gently used or past-season items can offer excellent value at a fraction of the price. Sixth, invest in what matters. Shoes, coats, and bags, items that affect your comfort and get frequent use, are worth spending more on. T-shirts and accessories, not so much. And finally, buy for yourself, not to impress others. If something brings you joy and you'll wear it often, it's a good buy. But if it's just for the label and you don't truly love it, it's probably not worth it. Let's wrap this up. The price of clothing isn't just about fabric and thread. It's the result of an entire ecosystem: designers, factories, logistics, marketing, retail. When we understand how it all works, we can make better choices, shop more consciously, and get better value from the clothes we buy. How do you approach clothing prices? Have you ever found that cheaper items outlasted expensive ones, or the other way around? Share your experiences in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We've got more honest, informative videos coming your way. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.